Howdy, folks. I'm Cheery Comforter, calmly comforting cold chaps.
I'm Amber.
And here are more cold chaps for us to comfort. Are we comforting like people chaps or like
Yeah,
the pants chaps?
I was thinking the people kind.
Yeah, okay, well, there you have it, folks. Chaps. Let's get started. All right, folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Inviting My Ex to My Graduation? Hey there, my current situation got a bit complicated, but I really can't see if I did anything wrong. That's why I want to ask here. I'm a 28-year-old female and I'm married. My ex-husband, we'll call him Elise, 28-year-old male, straight out of high school after dating for 4 years. Our families didn't have much money and college for both of us was impossible, so we talked about it and decided that one of us would attend first, and we literally flipped a coin and he was the one that got to attend college first. We made a contract I wrote on paper because we didn't even have a printer back then. That said, that even if we end up divorcing, the pact of helping me to attend college still stands. Well, he attended college locally, and both sets of parents helped with tuition, books, etc., while I worked to support the household. He graduated, and a year later, life got in the way when he started working, and I was preparing to enter college. After another year, he told me that he started to fall in love with a coworker, and we'll call her Lorena. But he respects me and loves me enough not to do anything, but maybe we got married too young without really thinking it through. We talked a lot, and although I still loved him, it was true that we hurried into marriage, and now, with how busy we both were, it was obvious that we wouldn't make it work for much longer, so we decided to part amicably. He said not to worry about anything because our agreement still stands. Both sets of parents helped me with my tuitions and stuff, and he rented me an apartment near college and gave me money for utilities, groceries, so I didn't need to work. Well, fast forward to this year, and I graduated. Finally, yay. Elise moved far away for work and is now engaged to Lorena. And I attended college locally, so I visited his parents and help around with chores or just keep them company. I have the date for my graduation, and they gave me 4 tickets, but one of my classmates asked if I wanted hers too, because she was only inviting her parents, and I was actually thinking about inviting Elise, so I said yes. I called him the next day and I told him that I had extra tickets if he would like to attend with his fiancée, and he actually was excited about it and said of course he would, and to tell him the dates so that he can request time off to come. We chatted for like 45 minutes, and he also told me not to worry about the apartment because he'll continue paying until I get a job. I thanked him and we hung up. Well, my graduation ceremony was last week, and it was very nice, and all my loved ones were there with me. And after the ceremony, my ex-in-laws told me that they made reservations in a restaurant to continue the celebration. At dinner, my ex-in-laws gave me a gift, and they said in their hearts I would always be their granddaughter. And my parents gave a present and a speech as well, and then Marco gave a little box, and inside of it was a cute necklace with a pendant with my initials and a little dragonfly, and he said that he had it custom made, and I was really touched by everyone. So I got up and I gave everyone a hug, and when I got to Lorena, I said I would, but only if you want it, and she laughed and she said, oh no, I think I'm okay. Then I got to Elise and we hugged, and he said, I'm really proud of you, Cricket, and we laughed. He used to call me Cricket because he said I would never shut up. Everyone went home shortly afterwards, and I'm pretty sure Elise and Lorena went back to their city. The thing is that since Tuesday, I've been receiving a ton of DMs and text messages telling me that I'm a homewrecker and that I should take a hint, and if the man moved on, why can't I? And it's obvious that I'm still obsessed with him because I'm still single since the divorce and leeching out of his kindness. So clearly, someone wasn't happy with our arrangement, nor the reunion for my graduation. I don't know if all of these are fake accounts from Lorena, or if it's Lorena and her friends, or just her friends taking matters into their own hands, but it's freaking me out because they are basically calling me every name in the book. I talked to my parents about it, and they want me to tell Elise's parents to put an end to it, but I have a bad feeling that it would only worsen everything. I have really moved on, and I think of Elise as my oldest friend now. And the only reason that I was single all this time is because my courses were really hard for me, and I didn't have the time or energy, and I also wanted to give me the best time and experience of singlehood and living alone because I moved from my parents' home and in with Elise, so I really wanted to just be me and to get to know who I am outside of marriage after 18. I'm thinking of just changing my phone number and not giving it to Elise, but at the same time, I still don't have a job and he's paying for everything and it feels bad icing him out. But was I really the jerk for inviting him? I never thought that it could be disrespectful to Lorena, but maybe it is. I'm really confused because I wasn't expecting such bad reaction for a simple invitation. Sorry for the long post. I tried to shorten it as much as I could, but I think this is all the context that matters. All right, folks, what do you think?
No, you're not in the wrong. And my guess that this is probably is Lorena, and she's uncomfortable with this, but
Yeah.
that's on her. All the irony of her and her friends calling OP a homewrecker when she's the reason OP's marriage ended is it's some good irony there. You didn't do anything wrong, OP. It sounds like you just invited a friend to, and you even invited his partner. You made sure she was incorporated in every step of the way.
Yeah.
You know, like if you two had been really shady and sticking off together and stuff like that, I could understand like why she would be upset, but like you invited her. You made sure she was an equal part of the ceremony. You tried to make sure she was comfortable, like asking her if she wanted a hug or not and stuff like that. It just sounds like she's jealous and insecure.
I think that's really the sum of it, and I think that OP should absolutely tell Elise. And the reason why she should tell Elise is because this is important information for him to know. Like, if she's this jealous over a friend, how jealous is she going to be over other friends, right? They were married, and they split up amicably, and he left her for Lorena. So she shouldn't feel insecure about this at all, right? Like, they were close, and he said, hey, you know what? I'm not going to cheat on you. We should just dissolve the marriage, which is the right way to do it, right? If you fall in love with somebody else and you feel like you can't reconcile your relationship, then, breaking things off and not cheating is just about the only way you can do that situation right. And so I think, like, he seems like a really nice individual, and, like, people do grow apart. And then he kept his end of the agreement, and then even more, and supported her. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, right?
Yeah, but it's important that he knows what his wife is up to.
Yeah, exactly.
Because her behavior is, assuming this is her who's making these calls, which I assume it is.
Yeah.
Is totally inappropriate. So I would screenshot everything and just, let him know that you've received these messages from an unknown number. And, you don't even have to speculate. You can just send them to him and be like, I just thought it's important that you know.
Yeah. So I do think that OP needs to tell him and not ice him out, because he's been nothing but kind, and he's just going to wonder what happened forever, right? So, like, he's going to feel like he was just used by OP at that point in time. So I think that, and then, like, that, how is that going to damage the relationship between OP and his parents, right? Who've been nothing but kind to her as well. So I think that just their comments may have gotten to Lorena, because they're like, oh, you'll always be our daughter type of thing, right? And that's a hard thing to hear when you're Lorena, right? So I think that probably she's just being insecure. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, I started matching his effort and he accused me of cheating. Without getting into all of the background, H, and I'm going to call him Henry, and I have been together for 20 years and have 2 kids. A few years ago, I felt our relationship was dying. We were past the toddler stage, and I tried everything I could think of to get it back. I communicated clearly, patiently, and consistently. He kept saying that we were so happy, but truthfully, he was the happy one because I was going to great lengths to make sure he felt loved and appreciated and nurtured our relationship, and he was doing nothing in return. I tried everything that I could think of, and he would just say, doing X isn't really my thing. I also tried to get him to take care of his mental and physical health, encouraged him to eat well, and do physical activity with me and the kids. Spend time with friends, etc. I shared TikToks about relationships since he was obsessed with the app. Always planned dates, made sure when the sitters were hard to get that I would plan an activity at home or lunch on a work day so that we were still connecting. Had no phones in bed rule and would ask for a cuddle every night. Texted to ask about his day and made a jar for us to write love notes, and he never engaged. Eventually, we had a pretty big blow up, and I told him that I needed to see some effort. He told me that I was too needy and that he didn't need me to do any of that stuff and that I was being dramatic. I then realized that it was the lack of any sort of reciprocation from him that was upsetting me, so I decided that from then on, I was going to match his level of effort. If he wouldn't do small gestures to show affection, neither would I. This was all about a year and a half ago, and while I didn't drop all the effort off immediately, I found a new balance for myself. Instead of the effort that I was pouring into the relationship, I found new hobbies, strengthened other relationships, focused on my own physical and mental health, and I've been doing well. I'm still working mom, so it's not like I'm out late partying or anything, but usually go out for a few hours a couple of days a week after the kids are in bed. Our relationship and intimacy have both faded to basically zero, but I just figured that in this season of his life that he was exhausted working dad and didn't want any of that anyways. Well, last week was his birthday. I had the kids sing and told him that he could order whatever he wanted for dinner. Old me would have made a big deal. Thoughtful gift, special cake, home-cooked meal, and followed up with sending the kids for a sleepover overnight for the whole weekend, and with the romance and lingerie and stuff like that. But I matched his effort. Anyways, on Sunday, he flipped out because apparently he was waiting to see if I had a surprise planned for him and realized that I didn't. And then he accused me of cheating. Apparently, I was showing all the classic signs of cheating by focusing on myself, not asking him for dates, not initiating intimacy, getting fit, and showing sudden, unexplained change in behavior. He was also checking my sex toys to see if they moved as proof that I still had a sex drive, and checking for new underwear, which of course I have a sex drive, and of course I've replaced my underwear regularly. I wasn't buying anything sexy, just the same comfy styles that I've always worn. I actually laughed at first when he accused me because the absolute absurdity that I would want another man to make me feel like garbage in the midst of trying to work and raise little humans. But now that it's simmered down for a few days, I'm so angry. First, he's capable of researching and paying attention to the relationship only when it's negative. Second, that he violated my privacy, looking at my underwear and toys. But mostly because it was all clearly a lie. He did need a relationship and to feel loved and desired, and just didn't want to do any of the work and preferred to make me feel crazy rather than put his phone down and engage with me. And now I just feel like he doesn't really like me or want me to be happy. I think that this might be it for us. Edit to add, he believed me that I'm not cheating, and I pointed out that I was treating him exactly as he treated me, and then he backtracked hard. I just don't think that I want to move forward. All right, folks, what do you think?
No, not the jerk. I mean, this is ridiculous. His behavior right here, like, he has no problem with the relationship when it benefits him, but he can't be bothered to put in an iota of effort to make it a good relationship for OP. And then when OP proved his point that, like, he said, oh, I don't need any of this stuff. Okay, well, then I won't give it to you. He flips out and accuses OP of cheating.
Yeah.
Like, he just wanted to be pampered without having to do any work. And that's not a partnership.
Yeah. I mean, it was clear that he was just using OP and was okay with OP burning herself out to make him feel loved, but not giving her the need in return, right? She had a need here. And, like, it's okay for her to have needs, and it's okay for him to have needs too. But they both need to be honest, and he wasn't being honest about that.
And then he was willing to put all the effort into this detective work when he couldn't be bothered to do something nice for her. Like,
yeah. Maybe instead of being like, oh, I'm going to sneak around and try to find out if she's cheating on me, instead of being like, maybe I should put some effort into making some romantic gestures or overtures for her so that she can know that I do want to have some kind of in return here, right? And
like,
or communicate, right?
Exactly. Like, if you got time to monitor her toys, you got time to order a bouquet of flowers.
Yeah. Like, I just think this is a sad situation because, like, OP clearly really loved him and really wanted things to work with him, but he just wasn't willing to listen to her or put in the effort at all. And like he proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that this was all a lie, and OP has every right to be angry about this situation.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's really sad. And maybe if they are trying to salvage this relationship, maybe marriage counseling should have happened a long time ago.
I mean, I don't think there's any salvaging it because he has shown that he does not care about OP at all, about her happiness and satisfaction. You know, all he cares about is his own.
But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And No Independent 8042 says, I would also say that he told you that he didn't need the effort and that you were made to feel needy. So now you have refocused that energy on self-care. And OP replies, he believes me that I wasn't cheating now and understands what happened. I brought up all of our past conversations and how I did the same thing for his birthday as he did for mine and put the same energy into our day-to-day as him. I kind of think that he believed all the stuff that I did for us before was just who I was as a person, not that I was consciously working at our relationship. Rude awakening. And folks, we're kind of short on time, so I'm just going to read this one comment that OP's kind of had for our back and forth. I think that it kind of summarizes things really well. And OP replies, I remember the exact moment that I snapped. On the plus side, I've done a lot of self-work, and I know that we're all messing up our kids somehow, but I feel that there's been a lot of positives for them too. I think that I model a bit of how to care for myself and not just be a parent. Also, prioritizing modeling our health and hygiene even if we don't feel like it. The oldest has questioned why dad doesn't have to do those things, and I say that we take care of our bodies for ourselves, and it doesn't matter what others do, and that we need to try our best, and that looks different at different times because life can be tiring. We talked about how we can't control how others treat us and how it's okay to celebrate yourself in ways that are important to you and not just wait for someone else to do it. If it weren't for the kids, I would absolutely still be putting up with all of this, but I try to think about what they are learning. They don't see a lot of affection, but we do get along. Normally, haha. Both contribute to the household tasks. Generally, we are more like roommates. So while it could be better, I don't think that I've doomed them or anything like that. And I think that's important. I think that's an important message. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
Why did the child dip their socks in caramel?
Because they're kids, and kids oftentimes do things that just don't make any sense. And I mean, I'm sure that the kid had some kind of crazy logic, like, if I put my caramel socks on, then I can walk on walls or the ceiling. And so they probably were just being like that. And then it just turned into like sticky footprints on the side of the wall and a kid crying in the corner when they fell down and hit their head or something like that. And so then the mom has to come in and then she sees the caramel footprints on the wall. And I mean, like, that's not a good time as a parent. And they're like, why did you do this? But you can't be too mad at them because they're sitting there crying and they're like covered in caramel and they're like, like, what am I supposed to do with this? You just can't hose them off in the corner like this. So you have to like pick them up and they're covered in sticky caramel. Somehow they've not just gotten on their socks, they've gotten across their whole body now. And they're like in this pool of caramel. And you're like, what in the world, kid? How much caramel did you use on these socks? And you're like, I don't even know if this kid's mine anymore. Like, can I send them off to be adopted by somebody? But no, of course you can't over caramel. Everyone would think that you were just plain, like, weird at that point in time. So you drag your kid who's screaming because they can't walk on walls with caramel into the bathroom and you spray them down. And then you have to, like, dry them off and blanket them and stuff like that, and then you have to go in and you have to clean the walls, and not just the walls, also the floor and the trail of dripping caramel that's now leading to the bathroom that the dog has gotten into now, and now the dog is covered in caramel, and now the dog needs a bath. And then it just turns into this whole thing. And so that's why the kid did it.
Because they wanted cotton candy. And it's National Cotton Candy Day and National Letter Writing Day.
Yeah, so get some cotton candy and watch your kids. Make sure they don't try climbing walls with caramel socks. And I have Earl Grey. Alright folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy special Sunday folks, and you know what makes it special? You do, Amber does too, and Caramel Socks do as well.
And Brian does too.
Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it on not cheating.
Don't cheat. If you feel like you need to cheat, then do the responsible thing and have a conversation with your partner and come to an agreement together.
Yeah. But thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.